What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Clippers Latest, where we talk all things LA Clippers. Quick, fast, and to the point. I'm your host with the most, Brandon Goggins. I hope that everybody is doing resplendent or having a resplendent day today. Um, as good as you can, man. You got to keep the vibes high, even if there are things making it low. You know, we're gonna keep spinning. One monkey don't stop no show. I'm a poet. Write it down. How are y'all doing today, though? I'm here to talk about some, Clipper stuff that isn't game related. These type of videos, kind of see a little bit of limitation now that the full season has started. But I still want to keep them in the rotation every now and then, just because, you know, we don't always have to talk about the Clippers losing. You know. um, what was I gonna say? I was gonna start off saying something. Oh, like the video if you're here, and subscribe if you're new. That would be great. That would be awesome. Join the Clipper crew. I'm just rhyming all day. Clip gang or don't bang. You know what I mean? We've got a lot to talk about, so I'm gonna get started with without any further ado. Without any further ado. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, you notice that I still got this hoodie on. I've been wearing t-shirts. I'm not wearing my polos again until the Clippers are back in the win column. Until we win a game. So until then, I'm not gonna put any effort into my dress code or my attire until they put some effort into their basketball game. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that in case you cared. I'm assuming that you didn't, but if in the case that you did, that's the reason why. So now, without further ado, let's talk about something that has been circulating on the internet as of recent. As y'all know, there's been some tension growing between Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies front office. Ja has basically said that he has lost his joy, and honestly, it's very, very evident. The energy, the fire, the fun that he used to play with, especially when you think back to 2022, it's just not there anymore. And being somebody that's from around the area, my mom actually being from Memphis, and a lot of my family living in Memphis, I know firsthand how much Ja means to the city. Like, he's the best thing to happen to the Grizzlies since Grit and Grind. He's their culture, he's their identity, he's their draw. You know what I'm saying? If they let him go, they're gonna lose a whole lot of fans. Like, it's going to plummet. Nobody's gonna be checking for the Grizzlies because outside of Tennessee, most people aren't really checking for the Grizzlies, at all. I know a lot of people that forget that the Grizzlies exist. Everybody that I work with, because I'm the only one in my state from Tennessee, and I never hear them mentioning the Grizzlies or anybody talking about the Grizzlies. Most of the people that love the Grizzlies are in Tennessee, and if they're not, they like the Grizzlies because they like Ja Morant. So if he leaves, fandom leaves with him, Lately, it has been rough for him. He's been struggling. The team has been struggling, and it's clear that his relationship with head coach Tumas Isalo isn't really thriving, to be exact. That kind of friction always brings trade rumors, and sure enough, Ja's name is definitely floating around. And one of the teams that I saw was mentioned was the Los Angeles Clippers. So that got my attention real quick. So I had to think of myself, how would Ja fit in LA? What sense would that make for us? So I just did some, very surface level, just thinking. I could go deeper if we want to continue the conversation, but here's what I came up with. So let's start with the upside. Ja Morant, like I talked about, he brings energy, he brings speed, he brings playmaking that the team has desperately been, missing. There are very few playmakers on this team. He's a true floor general that can take pressure off of James Harden, and he's not afraid to attack the rim, something that we've been way too hesitant to do, especially as of late. And then there's the crowd factor. Ja knows how to electrify an arena. He plays with emotion, he plays with passion, and that type of energy is contagious. Like, that's why everybody in Memphis is so involved. That's why people in Minnesota are so tapped in with Anthony Edwards, because they care so much. And that's somebody that you want on your team because you want the city to care. Like, that builds the whole team Oh, what's the word I'm thinking of? Oh, I cannot think of the word right now. But it builds everything up. Like everybody's riding high. Like in Oklahoma City, man, you think is really anything going on in Oklahoma City? No. But Thunder fans are so tapped in because their team plays with so much passion. They play like they like each other. They draw the crowd in and build themselves off of that. And Ja Morant is a player that can have that type of effect on a fan base. You know, we have good players, we have star quality players, but we don't have anybody that is like super just exciting and is like super like tapped in with the fan. Like Kawhi Leonard is our best player, but he's one of the top 5 most nonchalant people in the league. James Harden is also, although he's flashy, he's not the most out there type of guy. Like we don't really have guys that are like hyping the, you know what I'm saying, hyping the place up and getting everybody turned. We have people that can do it by their play style. James Harden could hit a 4-point play, get everybody hyped. Kawhi can hit a game winner, get everybody hyped. John Collins, Derrick Jones Jr., they can hit some dunks and get everybody hyped. But Ja Morant has the ability to do all of that. In addition to his personality that gets everybody hype. That's the thing. Fans feed off of it, teammates feed off of it. It changes the entire atmosphere. So that's something that we could really use in LA. But here's the problem. To get Ja, you got to give something. And we're not exactly stacked with the proper assets that we need to make that trade happen. Most of our trade value is in aging stars, and Ja is only 26 with plenty of basketball left to be played in his young career. The Grizzlies would more than likely ask for youth, picks, and promise, and we don't really have a lot of that. We have guys that like our young guys are just now starting to play. You know what I'm saying? The Kobe Browns, the Cam Christies. We haven't really seen too much of Kobe Sanders yet, or YKN. You know, like we've seen them like at the very, very end of games, but nothing, not getting critical minutes. So, you know, I don't really know. Like, do you throw John Collins and Derrick Jones Jr. up there? If it were up to me, I'd be like Bradley Beal and Bogdanovich and some, you know, let it be a deal. But obviously, that's not gonna be how that goes. No diss, but nobody wants, especially because of how we're seeing it play out so early into the season. Nobody's gonna want Bradley Beal. I think Bradley Beal is very near the end of his career, unless he's just okay with being a role player. You know what I'm saying, taking a Vince Carter route and not playing that much, but just, you know, being there as a veteran presence in the locker room. But I think in terms of like what he's able to add to a team, I think that's on the decline, and I don't see that as any trade value. You know what I'm saying? Bogdanovich is a sharpshooter that is on the decline. He is not young and spry like he used to be. He's not a primary trade target, but definitely still tradable, especially if we're considering like a package for Ja Morant. But I think that Memphis is probably headed towards a rebuild, so they, in essence, would want to get younger players to build around. And we don't exactly have that. And, you know, it's not like we have a whole lot of draft picks to just give them, you know? We barely have the ones that we do. So I don't even want to, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to. I don't want to even, you know, indulge and put all of that in jeopardy. We can figure something else out. Obviously, it's still a steep price for somebody that still has questions about fit and focus, so we don't even have a guarantee that it would work. So, you know, as fun as it is to imagine Ja and the Clippers, I don't think that it's realistic. And honestly, I don't know if it's what we need right now. We got enough going on as it is. But I'm still watching that Memphis situation closely. I wish the best in whatever his next chapter is. I just don't think it's gonna be in LA. And I don't even know if he wants to come here because Zubac said something that I think we're all thinking is very obvious. After another close loss, Ivica Zubac said, "These games that we're losing, they were all winnable." Yes, the sky is also blue, Zoo. Um, I don't mean that as any shade, because Zubac has been one of the only consistent players that we've had in the last few games, especially in this skid that we've been in. But he's not wrong. Like every single loss this month, especially, has been a game that we could have won at some point. We just keep on shooting ourselves in the foot. I've been saying it. I was saying it all last episode. We are allergic to the gas pedal. We'll get the momentum, look like we're about to take over, actually feel like we're building something, and then we just take our foot off the gas. We just stop. We get complacent. We start forcing shots. We start turning the ball over, and we completely lose all our rhythm. And everything that we worked so hard to build just crumbles to ashes. And I can't even tell if it's like on the players or Ty Lue anymore, because on one end, if you got a lineup that's clicking, they're producing offense, they're really doing well, they're cohesive, and they're really making stuff work, why sub them out? And if you got a lineup that's playing like trash, turning the ball over, forcing shots, making dumb mistakes, why leave them in? That doesn't make sense to me. But then at the same time, from the player perspective, you got veterans out there playing frantic, making rookie type mistakes. Playing sloppy, like looking like they ain't ever touched a basketball before. We're supposed to be the experienced team, but we panicking like we still brand new to the league. I don't get it. I don't get it. But the good news is, and I hope I'm not sounding delusional when I say this. Hopefully you guys think so too. These are issues that can be fixed. They can be fixed. We're still very early, but they're not gonna be fixed if we keep ignoring them. Somebody in that locker room needs to call it out before it's too late. We need somebody to be a leader. I know that we've got vocal guys, but we need somebody like Brook Lopez. We know is a vocal dude. We know it. But Brook Lopez isn't gonna be the game changer that we need our leader to be. Giannis is probably getting on his team's ass every time they lose. Jimmy Butler on the Warriors is getting on their team's ass anytime they underperform. LeBron, even though it's arguable as to whether he's the leader of his team, is getting on his team's ass anytime they lose. We don't have somebody like that because it kind of goes back to what I was talking about with that nonchalant type shit. Kawhi is probably more vocal than like what we know, and it probably doesn't get publicized in the media. Same with James Harden, but like they're not going to be those type of guys that are just like, saying, "Hey y'all, we need to lock in." Instead, we got somebody like Nick Batum doing that, who I think it's good for him to contribute that. And I think that he can offer another perspective. But we need somebody that's the real go-getter, the real breadwinner, to be the one vocalizing these things, because that's when people will get up and start listening. Because without me, there ain't no team. You know what I mean? Kawhi, we've seen how we've been playing without Kawhi. That's evident. And Kawhi needs to like make that be known. Like, hey y'all, we out here BSing. You know what I mean? I don't know. It needs to be something like that. James Harden, I'm not sure what he said in the locker room yesterday, but if I dropped a 35-point triple-double and lost, I'm pissed. Especially to the Atlanta Hawks, bro. Like, it ain't even like it's a top contender. It's the Hawks. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I think that these are issues that can be fixed, but I'm not sure if they will. So, I don't know. Time will tell, but yeah, that's how I feel about that. I agree with Zubats. Last of all, the Clippers dropped their new City Edition jerseys today, and I will say, I know I was hating in the preseason, but they're cleaner than I expected. I'm not, you know what I mean? I wasn't crazy about them, but now that I see like what they look like on the players, like I think that they look pretty clean. I'm gonna try and pick, pull up a video that they posted. Where we at? From Buffalo, New York to Southern California. Well, that's awkward. Let's see. The glare in the ring light. See, there's James going in the classroom, and then Chris Paul over here with his varsity jacket. I think that's Zoo right there. And then more people start piling in. And then, it's a whole like photo shoot. And then, Big Dog himself got to come in. That's how he needs to be coming in the locker room and addressing people. You know what I'm saying? That's how I need to be coming in the locker room and addressing people. But the design is obviously a nod to the old Buffalo Braves colorway, blended with a little modern LA twist. And like I said, like when I first saw it, I didn't know how to feel about it. I wasn't really the craziest. But they're growing on me. Seeing them in motion, they're growing on me. The theme for these jerseys is every new stop has a brave beginning, which I actually think is a cool concept. It ties the Clippers past their presence in a way that feels earned, not forced. But fans, they gonna get it in whenever they get a chance. And one comment had me rolling, bro. They said, "Can we have a brave new coach instead?" And I was like, I mean, we all thinking it, like, for real. I ain't gonna go into deep to that. I ain't gonna. I said this was gonna be a quick video, so we can talk about that. I've already talked about it enough, but we can get into that, depending on how this next stretch of games pans out. But let's just say we've been looking anything but brave lately. But that is going to do it for this episode, guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Leave your thoughts in the comments below on all things that we talked about today. How do you think Ja Morant will fit with the Clippers? I'm saying will as if it's going to happen. How do you think he would? How do you think he would not? Zubats, do you agree with his quote? I definitely do, and I feel like everybody else probably feels the same way. And then how do you feel about the City Edition jerseys? Let me know. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. As always, I enjoy reading them, but leave a like on this video if you enjoyed, and be sure to subscribe if you're new here. Once again, I'm going to get out of here, but y'all be easy, y'all stay sleazy, and as always, keep it P. I'm going to cash out in the next one. Click gang or don't bang. Peace.